smoking weed and watching anime. So this is a topic that I held back for a very long time because of the fact that weed was very prominent in my life when I was in high school. They tried to take me to rehab. They tried doing everything to stop me from smoking weed. But when you're a fucking anime fan that gets no pussy, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna watch everybody fucking make out in front of you and have no relief when you get home? Are you going to literally be content with everybody slapping gangster rap at the moment that you put your iPod in the aux cable, even though it's the other way around? That when you start playing a Japanese song and everybody's high as shit and they start roasting the fuck out of you, that weed is gonna make a difference? Weed was not distracting me from my problem, but one thing weed was doing was giving me a different perspective of when I view anime. But here's what I noticed. Mr. Pleasure said something about weed that opened my mind. He's like, when you're high, you think like a little kid. And I thought about shit. There was a time when I was watching anime where it felt like it was just like watching anime when I was a kid. What being high did is it amplified everything that I did whenever I listened to music, whenever I did this and that. And I was happy and everything was going my way, but that was the fucking problem. I was abusing that substance because I would make excuses for shitty entertainment because I would be able to tolerate it when I'm high. Now, me, how I got into weed was I tried my hardest to stay away from it when I was in 8th grade. And literally, it got to a point where they would burn me with fucking cigarettes if I didn't smoke. And because I was an anime fan, I had no fucking friends at the time, I still hung out with them, even though they abused me, even though they did this and that. It was better than being alone. At first it wasn't. At first I had Rob Lucci and Sasuke shit to fall back on. At first I had a whole ton of AMVs to fall back on, but when they started shoving pussy in my face, when they started shoving all their privileged shinobi in my fucking face, I could not just watch an anime fight scene, whether I was high or sober, and pretend like it was the end of the fucking... and pretend like I had my life together when I did. I couldn't pretend that just because I was listening to gangster rap when I was high, that I was not still an anime nerd when I got back home. When as soon as that high wears off, I'm not gangster anymore, huh? But I was never fucking gangster. Being high only kept me content at the time. Now, there is some things when I get high that is completely different from being sober. That's what the drug is supposed to do. And that is not abuse. That's just a side effect. And it can help you and it cannot. The reason why smoking weed is detrimental for you growing up is because it gives you tunnel vision. I already had tunnel vision because all I did was work on my career. And when they're trying to tell me to be multidimensional, weed stopped me from being multidimensional. Weed stopped me from motivation. I remember this one time where they're trying to tell me that weed doesn't really kill you, but it does make you lose motivation to do something. It does make you more lazy. It does make this and that. Even though it's a physical relief from all the stress that you are going through, it is nothing because once the high is gone, the problem is still there. But there's one thing that weed did do for me. Weed gave me a whole different perspective that whenever I looked at anime, I'm like, dude, do the people who make anime get high? It literally made me feel so one-dimensional that when I got high and I listened to fucking music and everybody's like, nigga, turn this shit off. I'm like, how? I'm so overwhelmed by the beat. Instead of that, I'm even more overwhelmed the fact that I am high and I forget that I'm hanging around different fucking people. I'm thinking that everybody has the same fucking mindset just because I'm smoking weed because it keeps you in your fucking head. It got to the point where I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool, but it would be even better if I'm high. It got to the point where I could not watch any fucking thing without being high. It wasn't distracting me from my problem because I already went all out in trying to socialize, trying to get better, but I just was not getting better because all the people who were smoking weed were also selling it and I was just smoking it. I never sold weed. And here's the whole thing. Here's the funny thing about the people who still smoke weed constantly versus me, who can only smoke here and there, due to a running gag on the street that I'm a knock, that I fiend for weed, that I'm ignoring the fact that I'm sexy as fuck, and that weed is keeping me from socializing when I socialize with the wrong fucking people and I don't want to do the same activities. And they're like, you know what? You can't get high without doing the gangster shit that we do is the fucking thing that they try to tell me. But they didn't tell me that out loud. They never said that. You know why? Because I was in special ed. And they knew things would come around. They knew that people were monitoring me, and they knew that if I continued to smoke with no consequences, I would be able to use their same tools without my expense. I get all the style, I get everything that you get from smoking weed. Yeah, you feel yourself when you get high. Yeah, it makes you want to dance when you get high. Yeah, this and that. I get everything, but I don't get into the criminal activity that they do. Like I stated in several fucking videos, that when I got high, I went home and played video games. I didn't hit licks like them. I didn't do this and that. And what I'm suffering from is I already was never in the game. And they're trying to say, oh, you're too far in the game. I'm like, I was never in the game. And he's like, oh, then why'd you learn how to gorilla? I'm like, because you made me fucking jealous, gorillaing girls in front of me my whole fucking life. So when I finally learned how to do it, I did it in front of people who actually fucking mattered. I never sold weed, and they're trying to convince me and sell me this dream that I'm in the game. Oh, you're too far in the game. That's because I hung out with them in the past does not mean I share the same lifestyle. But more importantly, I needed to stop thinking that getting high was the same as the fucking reality. Literally, getting high makes you do stupid shit, like when you're high and you look at a commercial and you literally just view the fucking commercial as a commercial, but then you see something that looks good and you're like, oh, I want to go buy that shit. Or when you get high and you spend money unnecessarily to get munchies when you already have food in the fucking house, because it's not forcing you to be quick on your feet, because when you're high, the THC is going to play off your muscle memory and it's going to keep you in the same boat, you know, doing the same shit. The side effects of marijuana can keep you in the same boat if you don't have an expanded mind, which I didn't have. Because I was an anime fan, I thought I was so hard hanging around all these fucking gangsters and shit like that. When I got home, I'm doing nothing but watching anime. You're not fooling no one. I'm not a gangster. I'm not this and that. Smoking weed doesn't make you gangster, and I learned that the hard way. I tried being my fucking self around people who smoke weed, where the majority of people who smoke weed are about that life. I'm like, no. I just like the feeling of getting high, and I don't need to do all that extra shit. And they want me to literally go all out. And he's like, why you just smoke a dip? Why don't you just hang around and kick it? Now, Robert was a different principle, because Robert gave me weed for free. All these other people are making fun of me, saying that I'm a weed fiend, saying that I'm this and that, saying that I don't get money. You don't want me to buy 10s, that's why. You don't want me to buy dubs, that's why. You want me to buy whole ounces and stuff like that, so I have an excuse that I'm possessing the cells when somebody tries to pull me fucking over. But that's just the bad part about why weed and anime didn't mix, because the majority of the people do now with the shit. But when I'm watching anime and I feel so fucking into it, is good. There's a difference now versus when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was literally trying to hide in the weed. But guess what? There was this time when I stopped smoking, and then they told me I was going to get something out of it when I got nothing out of it. I stopped smoking for 5 fucking months when I was in high school. And here's what happened. When I finally decided to get back on, after being patient, is when they started to drug test me. I stated that in a video that I took down because of the whole fucking thing that they did not want me to smoke at all. And that's why my junior year came along. They tried to get me in rehab because they understood that I was starting to feel myself more. I was starting to call out a lot of the bullshit once I started smoking weed, because I started to look at life in a more realistic and relatable manner, which is why I started saying shit I would never say if I was sober. Like, there was this girl that rejected me in high school that I was working one time, and I went up to this girl when I was high, and I said, hey, what's up, bitch? And she didn't do anything. She literally just stared at me, and the little kids are laughing at her and shit like that. I'm like, why didn't you do that the whole time when you were in high school? Because weed makes you feel natural. Weed makes you feel what you naturally want to feel. When you're sober, you're fucking serious. When you're high, you're super fucking into it. You're super into everything. When you're high, it makes you more enhanced. It makes you more focused. It makes you everything. Now, that doesn't mean that it makes you a better fucking person. That doesn't make that Weed makes you smart when it makes you dumb. Weed can make you extra dumb when you're already dumb. It can make you even slow. Imagine somebody with autism who's already staring at the wall. When he gets high, he's super staring at the wall. He's going nowhere and he's not realizing that time passes. So when you smoke weed and you think about all the times you could be doing work in community college, that shit happened to me. And they're trying to say that weed was distracting me from a personal problem when really weed was the only thing I had to fall back on back in the day. Now I've proven that I can get a girl. Now that I can prove this and that, weed is no longer just a distraction. Weed is literally just something there because there's nothing else to this world now other than the jealous card masturbators of mood tricks. Other people do use weed to run away from the personal problem. I use weed and like, oh, I get to get high. Okay, if I don't, alright, I'll just go or do some push-ups or something. Once I started working out, once I started expanding my mind, I didn't need weed anymore, but oh, it would be nice if I had weed. That's the same as saying, oh, it would be nice if I could eat sweets, but I have cavities. The exact same fucking thing. You know, even though you have cavities, you can still eat fucking candy, but why? It's just the same as when you first get them clean too, and you start to eat candy. I'm like, I'd rather not. I wear a Raytron in a better position to smoke. When I was getting high back in the day, I used to schedule. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do a chore so they can't fucking kill my high. So literally, when everything's done, I can relax because I can enjoy my high in my show. Instead of people thinking that they need to get high to do everything, which defeats the whole purpose of them getting high. I don't want to be high all the fucking time. I want to be high when I want to. When these gangsters, when these people are high 24 fucking 7, I'm like, dude, that defeats the whole purpose of getting high. Because you're in the same mindset 24 fucking 7, nothing is going to change. Unlike some people, when rather they're doing a chore, rather they're working, rather they're doing everything, weed changes everything. Weed does not change that with me. Weed is all like, dude, it's a fucking drug to have fun with. It's not a drug when you have responsibility. Oh, you can smoke it and I can save that shit for later. No. I never sold weed, so why the fuck do they consider me in the game? Oh, it's because you have green eyes. Oh, because you're for the stereotypical black guy. Oh, this and that. They forced me to smoke weed when I was younger. Oh, so heavy a problem. No, I'm not going to smoke. No, I'm not going to smoke it. Even Mr. Pleasure told me that you're going to fall under peer pressure, but I didn't know how. It's because they kept shoving it down my fucking throat. It's the time when they didn't force it on me is when I finally took the hit. Because I had no friends, they took advantage of the fact that I was in a poor area and I literally started smoking weed because I was experimenting because I literally didn't have one friend. That's the reason why I dealt with Justin's shit. That's the reason why I dealt with everyone's shit. And that's what made me a pathetic fucking loser. Instead of accepting the fact that these are the only people that can hang out with you because they're close in the block, why don't you try getting a job? Why don't you try going out? Me smoking weed was not distracting me from me being a little kid, me being called out on it, me being this and that. Literally, smoking weed did not change the fact that I couldn't roast in fucking high school. Smoking weed only made a difference when I had something to come home to. Literally, weed was only there when Naruto came out every fucking Thursday. Weed was only there when I had goal in mind, where I wanted to watch something in. Come on, when you only use it for that long, it's gotta get pretty bad. It doesn't matter if I'm high or sober now. Now I can watch anime whenever, but now it's a different fuck. Now, there are people who try and block alleyways where I used to go look for doobies because they want me to step my game up. It's like, no, you should pay for weed. But you know what's the funny thing? Last time I paid for weed, they tried to rape my dealer because he was a girl because I don't fuck with Sausage Fest anymore. This is a little insider. When I was hanging around gangsters, every time we got high, it was a fucking sausage fest. Just think about that. That's how you can tell a real gangster from a fake gangster. A real gangster is gonna get high with bitches. A fake gangster is gonna get high with his fucking buddies and crack jokes and act like they're doing everything. I don't fucking care about weed. I don't need weed. What I actually need is people to wake the fuck up, acting like I don't know the full story, acting like weed is gonna save them for the fact that they can't get laid, acting like weed is gonna save them from everything. I'm like, there's a time and place when you smoke weed, not literally 24 fucking 7.